We'll talk later.
That is not. Sure, fuck it. That's going to be the intro from now on, from every episode. I will look at the camera, point my finger up, and say, "We'll talk later."
We'll talk later.
Yo, motherfucker, can you hear me? Hello. New reaction. This one was solo picked by me. Nobody requested this. Why Formula 1 has no female drivers, bro? I just wanted a quick little. I had a question on my own, like, the NFL had a female kicker at one point. I remember that happening. I learned that in the early ABA, NBA days, that there was a female basketball player on a team, which is fucking crazy for the professional league, which is crazy. The only female to ever, I think, be on a technical NBA court, which is fire. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know if there's ever been a female in MLB. They have I'm pretty sure they got their own league, just like football has their own league. So I'm gonna see why the female drivers aren't in Formula 1, and maybe I'll even search up one that's for the reason why they're not in NASCAR too. I don't know what you guys are thinking. I already know the reason, Marcellus. Listen, bro. We don't judge here, bro. This is all about equality. Equality. Out the way. Let's get it. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, comment any video you would like me to see. Check out I'm Black as Hell. And yeah.
If you've been paying really close attention, you might have noticed that there's no female drivers in F1.
Factual.
And unlike in other sports like football, this is because we're split into two different leagues for genders.
Yeah.
F1 doesn't actually have any rules against females participating in any given year.
I thought so.
The sport hasn't seen a female driver competing in a Grand Prix since Giovanna Amati, who participated in 3 race weekends in the 1992 season. But since then,
there was a female driver. Wow, that's crazy. She took in 3 races in 19. Wow.
in any given year. Yet the sport hasn't seen a female driver competing in a Grand Prix since Giovanna Amati, who partook in 3 race weekends.
3 race weekends in 1992 season. What happened? I want to know her story. That's fire. I didn't know. I didn't search it up, but I thought that there was like not a single one ever
in the 1992 season. But since then, there hasn't been a single female driver in an actual Grand Prix. But that's not to say that she's the only woman who's been in the sport. There's been many over the years. But in recent decades, the amount of women who are actually driving in Grand Prix has dropped to 0. There has, however, been a scattering of female drivers who work usually as test drivers or development drivers for teams, like Jamie Chadwick, who's currently a development driver for Williams. But what's the actual likelihood of Chadwick or another female driver being seen in the sport anytime soon? Well, many people who don't have a good understanding of the sport may think that besides needing to be a good driver, F1 isn't that difficult of a sport.
I think it's
but
physical.
The opposite is true.
Biologically physical or some shit.
Speeds around very tight corners.
And the cockpit is.
For an F1
I mean, shouldn't it be better for women?
6 Gs in every corner. And with
The
most
cockpit,
having 10 to 20 serious
based on its size,
constantly hitting those numbers. And real quickly, if you don't know what a G is, it's the force exerted on your body by gravity.
I mean,
G is
like,
the normal weight you feel from Earth's gravity. So
upper body strength, I get it. I get what he's about to say. It's about upper body strength and like how, the drivers, they hit that turn at like 180 miles per hour. And then like the G-force is pulling them this way, but the car's going that way. And it's just like, force. So you got to like control all your upper body, but like they can work that out, right? Like they can work that out. Like biologically, we have stronger upper body, but they have a stronger lower body. Like there's got to be some technical way you could work around like improving anything in the human body, like with some workouts.
right
And
now.
some
The
testing.
average person can't really withstand much more
all
than
this
4
damn
Gs.
technology.
At that point, you'd likely black out due to lack of blood reaching your brain. Meanwhile, F1 drivers are pretty much always in a state of 2 to 4 Gs with spikes to 6 around corners, and yet they still manage to do this for about 70 minutes straight. A clear sign of this is the much larger necks that F1 drivers all seem to possess.
Okay,
they actually
okay.
have to train their necks to help keep their head in position during their drives. Also, in any given race, an F1 driver can lose up to 3 kilograms from sweat alone, and even more in hotter races. This actually puts them up there with football players after a 90-minute match of running around. To quote Daniel Ricciardo, they're high-performance athletes.
I'm a high-performance athlete. Sweat, sweat.
So, where are all the women? Well, the first woman to grace the sport was Maria Teresa de Filippis, who drove for Maserati and Porsche in 1958 and 1959. But unsurprisingly, due to that time period, she received a lot of sexist remarks and people doubting her due to the fact that she was a woman. Even one of the race directors at the time said, the only helmet a woman should wear is the one at the hairdressers. Top lad. Next up was Leila Lombardi.
Oh, he's going through the history of F1 drivers? What? Let's see. Let's see. If you need proof of the fact the rules didn't prevent women from becoming okay, okay, hold on. L reader. Okay, I'm gonna get the sentences out. My ADHD. Listen, I'm gonna lock in. La-di, la-do, la-da-da. If you needed proof of the fact that the rules don't prohibit women from becoming Formula 1 drivers, perhaps you might want to look at the experiences of Maria Teresa de Filippis, Leah Lombardi, or Davina, to name, these are just women's names, but 3 of the 6 women that have taken part in F1 races to date. They all offered the sport something different and therefore deserve their own space, which is what we'll offer from here. Born in Italy town of Margellino in 1926, Maria Teresa de Filippis, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, was the youngest of 5 children of a Spanish mother and an Italian count. It is the latter that is arguably the most important factor when it comes to de Filippis' racing career. Given the money required to enter the sport, having enjoyed playing tennis and riding horses in her teenage years, she began racing in cars when she was 22. Her brothers had goaded her. Goaded her? Hazed her? I'm just gonna say hazed her that she would be slow in a car, which she proved wrong when she won her first race at FITA 500. She was brought in by Maserati as their words driving, taking part in numerous different events. That sentence hurt me. That sentence hurt me. She was brought in by Maserati as their words driving, taking part in numerous different events before being offered the chance to take part in Formula 1. Maserati had become successful Formula 1 manufacturers, even winning the drive. Oh my good, English is so fucking hard. Evening winning the driver's title. Even winning the driver's title. Why don't they just say even? Why is it evening? Why is it evening? I don't know words. Oh my goodness. I got this. I'm gonna lock it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna lock it. Before pulling out the sport, the cars remained being driven by privateers with taking part in the Monaco Grand Prix in 1958. She failed to qualify, which was a fate that also befell a young driver called Bernie Escalstone. The Philippines did qualify for the Belgian Grand Prix and finished coming 10th thanks to 9 other cars failing. She claimed that the race director of the French Grand Prix stopped her from taking part, saying that she took part in several more races after that, but was left devastated by the deaths of numerous drivers. As a result, she decided not to take part in the 1959 German Grand Prix, instead leaving the track never to return as a driver. She did go on to become vice president of the International Club of Formula One Grand Prix. Vice president of the International Club of Formula One Grand Prix drivers? What the fuck? What the fuck? What do you mean she just became vice president?
Directors at the time said the only helmet a woman should wear is the one at the hairdressers. Top lad. Next up was Leila Lombardi, who had the longest female F1 career of 3 years between 1974 and
multiple
1976.
women, bro. That's crazy.
During that time, she drove for March, Ram, and Williams. She is also the only female in history to score points in F1, or, well, half a point, because the race she did get a point in was halved due to the shortened race time, and that was in the 1975 Spanish Grand Prix. Next was Davina Galitza, a British driver who drove in 1976 and 1978 for Surtees and Hesketh, who in her off time from F1 was the captain of the British Women's Olympic skiing team and competed a total of 4 times. Next is Desiree Wilson, who drove for Williams. She only officially raced in a single Grand Prix in 1980, but due to a war between the old defunct Formula 1 governing bodies FISA and FOCA, she did also do an unofficial race in her home country of South Africa a year later. And finally, the aforementioned Giovanna Matti, who drove in 1992 for Brabham, entering into 3 races, but did not qualify for a single one of them. After failing to qualify, she was replaced by future world champion, but at this point, rookie Damon Hill. But besides those 5 women, we never see any other women entering into the world of Formula 1, or at least anyone who's putting in a decent race. But why aren't we seeing as many prospective females entering the sport as we see men? Well, it's likely for 2 reasons. The first, being such a physically demanding sport, there are less women able to compete as the body strength needed is extreme. And this is added to as, unlike football and other sports where there are thousands of players all playing for different teams, Formula 1 only has 20 drivers at a given time. Formula 1's limited space only allows for the best of the best, or those with the largest wallets, to get in. And in recent decades, none of those have been women. But that leads us into the current best of the women, Jamie Chadwick. Now, just mentioning her name will make some of you very, very upset, but it's okay.
I don't know who that is.
She's not gonna hurt you. She's just a driver. She's currently competing and absolutely demolishing her competition in women's series, making Jamie Chadwick the main person anyone thinks of when it comes to women talent within the sport. And technically she is in F1, kind of. She works as a development driver at the Williams Academy, but over the past decade, there has been quite a few women who have worked as test drivers, but that's not what we're interested in. The question is Jamie Chadwick likely to make it into F1? And the answer is probably not. While she is currently dominating W Series, F1 is a whole different game in cars that are different in pretty much every single way. But that's not to say that she couldn't compete in F3 or even F2. And while she has had a season in Continental F3 and it didn't go outstandingly well, that was now a fair few years ago, and her experience prior to that was pretty much entirely in GT cars, not single-seaters. And now after absolutely steamrolling her competition in WC...
Isn't Williams doing terrible? I don't know about nowadays, but I thought that Williams was doing like really bad. Like they're always at the bottom. They're always at the bottom. So I mean, if like they're always at the bottom, fuck it. I mean, well, actually, yeah, that would probably be very like controversial. That'd be a lot of pressure. I don't think she wants that pressure. I don't think she wants that pressure. But hey,
series, it seems more and more likely she could put in a more standout performance in F3. At the moment, it seems unlikely we will be seeing a female F1 driver anytime soon, as there isn't anyone who's seemingly good enough to match with our current roster. But if Nicholas Latifi can buy his way onto the grid, then I'm sure a female driver with parental funding could definitely do the same. Another reason besides physical gender differences is F1 and motor racing in general is a massively male-dominated sport. From the early stages of karting to the big leagues, the vast majority of competitors are male. However, this might be about to change. Say what you want about Drive to Survive, but one thing is certain. The viewership the Netflix show has brought to the sport is astronomical. And with this, many more females have started watching the sport. Similar to the story of women's football, the more interest F1 gets from young girls and the more female drivers are accepted by the audience, the more we will see talented female drivers come through. And on the other hand, Women's Series is only in its 3rd ever season. And with viewership steadily rising, it shows advertisers and the FIA that people are interested in female drivers. This will increase the funding going into the sport, leading to better and more competitive drivers. In a sport still currently dominated by male interest, it's not surprising that we don't see
Nah,
many
there
women
probably
reaching
won't
the
be.
top level,
There probably
but it
won't be.
doesn't
If
mean
there's
that
a
it's
women's
impossible.
series,
I
like
would be very
why would
surprised if
they?
we don't at
They
some point
wouldn't
see a
like
female
no.
driver who got in from skill and not money, who actually takes part in Grand Prix, not just a test driver like we currently seem to be getting. Meanwhile, our current best Jamie Chadwick is still yet to be offered a seat within an F3 team. But since she's won every single season of W Series so far, and it's looking more and more likely that she's going to make it a hat trick with the 2022 season, it would be amazing if she wasn't offered something for 2023. And even more so, she's a lot more famous and well known than most of the F3 and F2 drivers, making her a more interesting prospect for teams within the championships. So whilst we don't currently have any likely candidates for female F1 drivers, we could be seeing one hopefully within the next decade. The road to F1 for women is definitely much harder than it is for a man, but it's not impossible. I feel a lot of people, myself included, would love to see a woman within the sport, and even better if she holds her own to prove those who doubt them wrong. But for the time being, we will be stuck with our all-male lineup. But what's your opinion on this? Do you think that women drivers are going to be in the sport anytime soon, or do you think we're going to see another 30?
It depends on how the women's series is. I've never heard of it. I didn't know it existed. I did not know it existed. No offense here, but couldn't care less about driver genitals. What? Then why'd you watch the video? Why did you watch the video? Why did you click on the video if you didn't care? F1 doesn't care about sex, it cares about lap speed. Problem with W Series is the gap between it and F1 is far too big. They drive regional F3 cars with about a quarter of the power of F1. Can easily be a good platform to get more women into F3. Get destroyed in F3, and that's why human drivers with far less experience. F2 would be even success within it will never push anyone straight to F1. Okay, you see, that's why I said I don't know how the W series is, but it sounds like they just took the premise from F3 and then gave it a name and said, yeah, it's for women. And I guess this I mean, if that's actually accurate, if they look at her lapping, then yeah. But I mean, like, that's all just, he did say that she has a couple years ago, which is probably even more years ago now, that she was in a lower series, like a maybe F3, maybe around there, maybe lower, and she didn't do too good. But I feel like if you put them, listen, it's kind of like a household. If you've grown up in a house with siblings, then you know that the youngest child is probably, if all three of you, the siblings, the oldest, the middle, and the youngest, if all of them play the same sport, the better person at every given age is probably going to be the youngest. The youngest at 10 years old is going to be better than the oldest at 10 years old, because he has had to compete with people that are older than him and more experienced consistently. He's had a height to look up to, like literally, or she's had a height to look up to. So I feel like if you put them in that situation, which obviously has happened before in the 90s with different women drivers, they obviously didn't do too great, but give them the right budget, the right car, give them everything possible to win, and I think, hey, you might see something crazy. But that was a W video. Let me know if you want me to practice some more. Anything else? I just felt this was a good topic to try to understand. I had no clue that there were freaking F1 women drivers at all, ever. To think that there was 4 of them is crazy. I didn't even know there was a women's series. Didn't know that was a thing. So that was great to learn. Yeah. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace.